Jake Paul has been charged after Scottsdale looting. I kid you not. This guy's a millionaire. I'm pretty sure the dude's a multimillionaire, right? Why are you going out to these lootings? What is this? He's trespassing. So this story's been going viral for a while. I didn't know if it was real or not because he was wearing a mask, but people are saying like, dude, that's Jake Paul. Like that's Jake Paul coming out of a store. Maybe this dude was just trying to get a thrill. But I tell you this, man, look at this story. New York City looters were dropped off in luxury cars with power tools and suitcases, used stolen U-Hauls for coordinated attacks, as officials across the USA blame organized crime for the chaos. During the riots, luxury cars were pulling up and rioting. There's one video where like a guy's sitting on a balcony and he's like, whoa, that's a Royce, that's a Rolls, baby. Like what the, and the guy gets out and the guys go run and loot. And it's like, who are these people who have all of this money and are looting? I'll tell you what, man, it's the thrill, I guess. You know, people who don't need to want to do it because it's fun. It's exciting. Well, it's a bad idea. Jake Paul's getting charged. I don't know what's going to happen, but let's read this story from ABC 15 Arizona. They say, Scottsdale. Social media influencer and YouTuber Jake Paul has been charged by police in Scottsdale after allegedly participating in weekend looting and riots. Police said Thursday the 23-year-old Jake Joseph Paul was identified as being present among hundreds of tips and videos sent to officials. He reportedly unlawfully entered and remained inside Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall when it was closed. You know what, man? Look, if the dude was just walking around, I kind of roll my eyes and I'm like, do you really need to charge the guy? Do you have evidence of him taking things or breaking things? Is he just some moron who was filming and followed people in? Look, the dude's a media personality and you should not be running around with riots and filming stuff for sure. But there is a challenge to the act of journalism. I'm not going to call Jake Paul a journalist, but if all he did was film stuff, then I think this is a bit over the top. Maybe there's a fine you can give him. Maybe you can ask him to make a statement about it. But charging him with a crime. Well, let's see what they say. Officials say Paul, who has a large following on YouTube, was present after the protest was declared an unlawful assembly and the rioters were ordered to leave the area by police. Paul has been charged with criminal trespassing and unlawful assembly, both misdemeanor charges. However, Paul tweeted Sunday, to be absolutely clear, neither I nor anyone in our group was engaged in any looting or vandalism. He says they were there to film and share our experience and bring more attention to the anger felt in every neighborhood we traveled through. Well, here's the full statement. He says, for context, we spent the day doing our part to peacefully protest one of the most horrific injustices our country has ever seen, which led to us being tear gassed for filming the events and brutality that were unfolding in Arizona. We were gassed and forced to keep moving on foot. We filmed everything we saw in an effort to share our experience and bring more attention to the anger felt in every neighborhood we traveled through. We were strictly documenting, not engaging. I do not condone violence, looting, or breaking the law. However, I understand the anger and frustration that led to the destruction we witnessed. And I got to open this to get the rest of his statement here. So he says, I understand the anger and frustration that led to the destruction we witnessed. And while it's not the answer, it's important that people see it and collectively figure out how to move forward in a healthy way. We are all doing the best we can to be helpful and raise awareness. This is not the time to attack each other. It's time to join together and evolve. Look, man, I'm not going to pretend to join, that I'm going to be angry with Jake Paul. I'm not going to play stupid games where I'm going to rag on this guy. How many YouTubers right now are bringing this up and going after him because it's funny, it's fun, and people like ragging on Jake Paul? I don't like the guy, like professionally. I don't know anything about him personally. I mean, maybe he's just a business guy. I've heard a lot of controversial things about him. I really don't care. I don't watch his channel, but I'll tell you this. While I'm not going to praise what he did following rioters and filming everything because it panders to the baser instincts of shock riot porn, things like that. And I know. Like, here's what it comes down to. I myself have filmed these things. I myself have been on private property filming rioters, and I would rather have the footage. So I don't like the idea that they're going to charge him for trespass if he was just there to document things. He is a media personality. So if you want to argue that his whole shtick is entertainment and stuff, by all means, that's what I'll criticize him for. But I'd rather have footage of what people are doing than not, right? I mean, look, if some of the footage he has ultimately helps people in some capacity because we know what was going on, whatever that capacity may be, it's a good thing. I like journalism. I like giving the public the ability to know what's happening. So while the guy deserves criticism for sure. I think we're playing it's a slippery slope here. They say, he's got more than 20 million subs. On May 30th, crowds gathered all around the mall area, breaking into stores. When asked if any other members of Paul's team who were with him at the time were also facing charges, a spokesperson for the police said not at this time. You know what I think, man? I think he's famous, and a lot of people don't like things that he's done. And so hating on him becomes its own kind of content. Take a swing at the big dogs. Let's criticize him for everything. But look, I don't know what he was doing. I'm not going to pretend to know. And if he was looting and vandalizing, by all means, he should be charged. Me personally, if the dude is there to film, I'm kind of okay with that. I am. As long as he isn't egging anybody on, inciting, if he's just standing back and filming, that's fine. I really do think so. And maybe that's controversial. Maybe people get mad at me for it. But I like the act of journalism. I like people having the ability to see what's happening all around them. So this isn't the same case as, what happened with New York City's looters. This is organized crime and people breaking into things. But let me tell you something. These are opportunists. This is very, very different from what Jake Paul would even have been doing. Let's say Jake's whole shtick was like, I'm going to get a great episode about this. Yeah, well, I roll. But look, man, the press does this. Jake Paul is not special. If you want to rag on Jake Paul because he's going to make YouTube shot content out of the riots, let me just tell you something about the media. They all do the exact same thing. That's why CNN is praising this. So please, give them the same criticism you give to the mainstream media. That's totally fair. And if you think the mainstream media shouldn't be entering the private property in these businesses, that's fair too. That's fair too. I haven't seen, we're right now hearing that press freedom's under attack and all these journalists are being attacked. And I think there's a really great op-ed by some journalists talking about defending the act of journalism because of the day and age we live in. What that means is if some random person just starts filming some activity by the police, the action of journalism needs to be protected. They may not be a professional journalist, but they're allowed to film and be where they are. The difference with that analogy is that Jake Paul was trespassing in a mall after someone broke in or whatever. But it's like, I really just think it's a PR move. Now, let me tell you something. Let me wrap up on this because I got one more story for you. We can see these wealthy people, organized crime, doing all this looting across New York City. Let me tell you, that's the real problem, not Jake Paul. The luxury people pulling up are not YouTube celebrities who want to get video clips. It's stories like this. 50 ATMs blown up around Philadelphia during violent unrest. Please complain about this. You know what? That's what I'm trying to say, man. I get it if you want to criticize Jake Paul. Why does he get all the attention when meanwhile I'm in the suburbs of Philly. There were explosions all throughout the night. Why? Organized crime going around blowing up ATMs, stealing the cash out of them. All right. I wish stories like this got more attention. Yeah. Some celebrity was wandering around a mall and filming. Sure. I'm seeing everybody tweet about this. And I don't want to play some silly game. Look, the news is being covered. NBC Philadelphia is covering the story. But it's just about what gets at people's attention. So to be honest, look at me doing this video. Like, this is the point. I know that if I talk about just the ATMs and talk about the civil unrest and organized crime, people will be less interested. It's kind of stupid, isn't it? I could make the video and then no one hears about these stories. I do think it is, fair to talk about Jake Paul and what's going on. 100% that story should be covered. But I want to now use that opportunity to segue into things we should be paying attention to. The opportunistic, organized crime infiltrating, these moments, these protests, these riots for financial gain. So, yes, both of these stories have merit. I know full well the Jake Paul story is probably more interesting to people. It's fair to say it is. And I think it's fair for you to be interested in it because Jake Paul is a celebrity. But I wish people cared more about their communities to protect them, to call out the violence, and stop acting like all of these riots are noble heroes. Jake Paul's no hero. He's a dude who wanted to film a video for YouTube. But more importantly, the riots are being used as cover for things like this. Look at this. A 25-year-old who's accused of selling homemade dynamite on the streets with instructions on how to use it on ATMs has been arrested, though authorities aren't yet sure whether the man is connected to the coordinated effort, the state's attorney general said. Explosions hit 50 cash machines in and near Philadelphia since the weekend, and one man has died. So come on. We got to be honest about what all these stories are, but here's the ultimate problem you can take away with this. The reason why some people will hear about what's going on with the riots, and they'll only hear about it because of Jake Paul. I kind of feel like that's a good thing, that they know what's going on. So now I would just say to Jake Paul, like, talk about the legit stories. That's your opportunity. You got a big audience. I know I do too on certain issues. Jake, you got a bigger audience than I do. So I think it's silly to be mad at the guy if all he did was walk around filming. And if he has an opportunity now to point out that organized crime and like basically, people are making improvised dynamite, like this is the opportunity now to use a large platform to let people know these are the things that are impacting our communities that need to be called out. Otherwise, people get a biased view of what's really happening. But look, man, I think they say everybody has a responsibility to spread the right message, but everybody has a different idea of what the right message is. You might disagree with me. Feel free to do so. Comment below. Let me know what you think. I don't think I have all the answers. But this stuff's getting crazy out there, man. I'll leave it there. Next segment will be tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you all next time.